two dirty painters to multiple seven-figure business owners. I'm Redion.
And I'm Karmelo.
And I'll be giving you guys the insider secrets to take your trade business to the next level.
From crazy stories to proven strategies, get ready to supercharge your business with us.
Welcome to the Dirty Painters Podcast.
In today's episode, we're diving into our top strategies that ensure a steady flow of jobs. We understand job security is frightening in our industry. From generating leads to diversifying your services, we'll share key practices and tips to help make sure you're never out of work. Let's get right into it.
All right. This will be a good one.
How do you make sure you're getting consistent leads? Leads. That's the main issue I think almost everybody is having.
That's the main issue that everybody thinks they're having until we'll really dive into it. But let's say that's the only struggle. That's the only hurdle you need to overcome. You just need more leads. So the most simple thing is you just need to spend more. One thing that we've been preaching on this podcast is you always got to stay relevant in your marketplace. Always keep advertising and keep spending money because it's like a compounding effect. Advertising is a compounding effect that it has to build up and you have to keep building and keep adding on the advertising building blocks.
Yeah, that's something you stressed out in the past before. Don't just stop running campaigns even when you're slammed, because those are awareness ads. And I can give you an example. So this job that we just closed, the lady, she found us through an awareness ad 6 months ago, and now she's ready to hire. And then, boom, right there, just from the awareness ads running.
A prime example, it happened to me a few days ago. It's a cabinet job reached out to me October 23rd. They reached out to me. I gave them a virtual price, and then they kind of ghosted me. And I'm not really good at following up on those things still because, we get so many leads and I get busy. And then but one thing that I'm good at is I never stop my ads. And then the guy saw an ad and reached out. He's like, oh, I completely forgot about the price you guys gave me and I'm ready to go. So I was like, that's a good example. Like, hey, never stop your awareness ads so you can stay relevant in the marketplace. And then that guy in my mind, I was like, oh, he ghosted me. He probably is not interested. Ended up buying in May now. How long is that? Like 6 months later?
7 months.
7 months later, because he saw my ad. So if you want to keep consistent lead flow, just keep running ads. That's number one. And then I have here in the notes, do more. This is going to be our new slogan, do more. After I came back from the Hormozy workshop, just do more.
And spend more.
And spend more. Yeah, like my marketing budget right now is just friggin' nuts. I just 10x everything and it's been working like crazy. So do more. If you're spending $200 a month, double it, triple it, quadruple it. Depends on how much your business is doing. But if you start running ads, and then I was on a call with Petiti Paint yesterday. Shout out to Matt Petiti. And then we're launching a new consulting program that we're going to be working closely with business owners to see how they grow. And then he worked with me about a year ago. Great results. He's doing great. He's growing his business. And I was like, how much have you been spending in marketing? And then he said the number which he said, I'll just give the numbers. I'm sure Matt doesn't care. So he said I spent $3,500 in a year. And then I was like, what? And he did $500,000 in business. So I'm like, Matt, that's like less than 1% ad spend. Like the return on ad spending is insane. I'm like, imagine if you were spending $7,000 or 10 or 20. I'm like, your business would have been probably $1 million. And he's like, yeah, we got busy and all that. And I stopped running my ads. I'm like, oh my God, another one. So the biggest thing that my guys I work with closely, they do is they get busy and then they stop advertising. I was like, that's like rule number one. We cannot be doing this. Even if it's $200 a month, even if you get so busy, you have to stay relevant in your marketplace. So now we're going back on the drawing board. We're going to start a 6-month program. We're like, hey, rule number one, we don't stop the advertising. Even if it's $100 a month, we have to stay relevant. So prime example, like people get busy, then the leads, obviously won't get a lot of leads if you're not advertising. And then they hit kind of like a plateau. Like, how we said the compounding effect, you need to keep building. If you're not keeping building, eventually you're going to run out of supplies. And then the next thing you know, you don't have enough leads. And you can't just turn to your marketing and be like, oh,
bam, leads coming in immediately. It's like a fire. If you don't take care of your fire, if you don't, sticks to the fire
Yeah.
so it can stay lit. It will diminish, and then starting it up back again, you have to,
Keep your advertising fire lit. Keep adding marketing dollars, even if it's small budgets. It's gonna pay dividends 100% in the long run. That's one of the most common mistakes that I see in day to day. And we used to be like that too. We would get so slammed, like, okay, time to turn off the advertising.
And then we're like a week or two before when we're thinking in our head, oh, we don't have anything for this week. Let's run the ads. And then we're not getting any good leads, any consistent leads. And we're thinking, oh, what happened?
Plus, another thing that I noticed, and it's a big mistake that, so let's say when you go into a sales appointment, a lot of people, they're not ready to start Monday or next week. So you have to keep your floating schedule. Like we said, we always keep a floating schedule. A lot of people, like let's say Carmelo reaches out to me today and I go to do an estimate for him. He's not gonna be ready next week or the following week. A lot of times people like, oh, we're just in the planning stages and all that. Or how many times those people that they reached out a couple months ago when we did estimates, eventually they start landing a few months down the road. Like it happens every day. I mean, prime example, the cabinet guy reached out in October. The job is landing. We're gonna start it in June. So that's a big gap. That's why you have to keep them reoccurring. You have to keep your funnel, your pipeline filled with leads and sales.
Because essentially, those people that they are ready a month later down the road, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, damn, I need to put something in for next week. What do I do now?
And then
You don't want
also,
to be stressing.
also it shows desperation. I don't like being desperate. That's why I'm bad at following up. I'm not perfect at running this business, and then that's one of my flaws. I don't like following up because I feel like I'm chasing, and I hate that. I don't want to be seen desperate, and then that way, it just you don't seem desperate. Well, again, follow up. Don't do what I do. I always tell my reps and the people I consult like the follow up is game changing. You don't seem desperate, but I just don't like it. I don't know. It's like you're chasing a girl and like she's not showing interest and
Please give me work.
like you're the can I get a hug guy. Don't be the can I get a hug guy.
Other than social media marketing, any new marketing strategies so you can have that consistent lead flow? What would you recommend?
So I'm always like even now, the last 2 weeks we've been testing next door ads. We're just always testing, and that's gonna get once you get to a certain level and you have reoccurring revenue and you have money to play around, you have the options to experiment and test out new marketing outlets. Um, always look for new where you put your money. For example, us social media works out great. Facebook works great for us, but we're always thinking, hey, how can we add more leads? How can we bring more leads from different marketing channels? That's what I'm saying. Always test out new things. And then once you're a business owner, you always have to keep in mind the worst case scenario. Like me, I'm always thinking, what if Instagram goes out of business? Or like, for example, like let's say our business was strictly uh, depending for leads on TikTok. And then now everybody says like TikTok is gonna get banned and all this. If TikTok got banned and then nobody was using it in the United States, we'll be out of business, right?
Yeah, or if some random new regulation that you can't advertise on Instagram, what would you do? Does your business come to a halt? No, you got to have those diversified options just so you have that consistent lead flow. And I want to give an example. Like back in the day when social media wasn't around, maybe Google was the go-to lead service you had running Google ads. But for us right now, it's not really working. So if your business back then was running on Google ads and now it's not really a good marketing avenue for your business, you're not just gonna come to a halt.
I'm gonna correct what Carmelo said. It is working. If we run Google Ads, it'll work, but our cost per acquisition is gonna be way higher compared to the other marketing channels that we have. Like it can work. It'll work. I mean, if we spend 10 G's on Google next month, we'll get money. But like I'd rather spend that 10 G's in a market like where I get a better return on investment.
Mhm.
Also, it's a principle that I got from the Stoics. It's called negative visualization, and you can use that for with life. You can use that with your business. We'll use it for business purposes now. So visualize that everything goes to shit and your marketing channel just goes out of business. You have to be prepared. That's why you have to always think about your next 5 moves. You can't just go one move at a time. Like you're playing chess, you're not playing checkers. Always think of what's next. Or what if something goes to shit and then your marketing stops working? How are you gonna keep your organization running? Because you still need to make money, I'm sure. You still need to survive. You still gotta pay your bills. Your guys need to pay their bills. That's why always experiment with different marketing avenues, so you're not shutting your business down if TikTok gets banned.
We just got
We don't advertise on TikTok. Like even now, like I hate TikTok. I just have Victoria running our TikTok right now for the podcast.
get
But
TikTok famous.
that's a prime example of like, hey, if the marketplace changes, if a platform gets banned, what do we do? And we're entrepreneurs. We're problem solvers. We have to adapt and move and be ready for changes, sudden changes that they're gonna occur in the marketplace. And then this episode is mainly talks about job security, and we're gonna touch a little bit based on the floating schedule. So floating schedule, meaning your pipeline always has things going on. That's why cabinets are a great way to keep a floating schedule. Let's say you're exterior heavily based painting company, and then for example, Florida, we're about to hit rain season, and it rains a lot. What happens when we can work outside for a week? We have to adapt. We have to keep the pipeline filled with other things that we can be like, okay, Carmelo, our 2 exterior crews are not working this week. What can we do? Where are we sending them? You always have to be able to pull things up to keep those guys busy, because it's not only about keeping those guys busy. You have to hit your numbers every month. So what do you do to hit your numbers every month? How do you adapt? Or how do you deal with cancellations? That's another thing. I mean, we get, or not cancellation. We don't really get cancellation, but I get
rescheduled.
rescheduled. Be like, uh, let's say Mrs. Homeowner is set to start Monday, and then we have everything planned out for Monday. We have like, let's say 5 guys ready to start Monday. What if she's like, oh, my electrician is not done, or I don't know, use an example.
So I can give you a real life example of this. A week ago, we had this full interior project to start, but 2 days before that, the homeowner reaches out to me and tells me, "Hey, can we reschedule because we're gonna have to tent the house for termites?" And at that point, I was like, "Yeah, sure, I can put you down for when is it ending, all that? Okay, we'll do it for this day instead." And then soon after, I because of the floating schedule, I can let the other homeowner know, "Hey, we've had an opening here. I can have my guy started then." And then boom.
So we're not stressing. Carmelo was not stressing about keeping those guys busy and hitting our quota for the week because of the floating schedule, because of us making sure that there's fresh leads, there's fresh jobs, there's jobs on the pipeline. Because a lot of times when you go out and sell, and then I'd say like 50% of the estimates that we do, customers, they're not like, oh, let's start tomorrow. Like, oh, I'm flexible on the schedule. And then you make a note. You're like, okay, let's add it on the schedule, but we'll keep it floating. Um, and we also back to downselling. We talked on downselling in the next episode. We give people incentives when they're not very strict on a start date. Like, hey, if I get a cancellation because of rain week, I can get you in. And then people are willing to work with us on those terms. And you have to have those people that are flexible to work with those terms. Just for what Carmelo just said, like for prime example, he had a list of people that were flexible, and he has the ability to hit them up like, hey, I had a cancellation. Would you like to move your project up? And then those people are like, hell yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, you don't want your guys twiddling their thumbs, or you don't want to text them, "Hey, the project I had that was supposed to start this Monday, they actually rescheduled for following week, so I don't really have anything for you." For me, I just feel bad about it because the one painting company that we work together at,
I was going to use that example too. You're in my head.
Yeah, so sometimes that would happen, and they would just, "Oh yeah, this week I got nothing. You guys stay home."
Or you know what was the funniest thing? And we were talking with Dad about it the other day. Like the last painting company that me and Carmelo and my dad worked for, it was a commercial painting company. And I get it, we go there, things are not ready. Like, for example, he would have us scheduled to start Monday to go prime and do all the things. And then the drywall are not done. So I remember, for example, that one on Arbor job that we drove an hour and 15 minutes. and we go there, three guys. We drive an hour and 15 minutes. And then again, it was not our old boss's fault because that's how the commercial game is. We go there, and then the project is not ready for prime. Like, we're not gonna prime unsand it and level one drywall. So he's like, "Yeah, guys, that's what I had. I don't have anything else." I'm like, "Motherfucker, like, dude, like, how do you run an operation and then you don't like you send a crew? It was four of us. It was not only us three. It was Tony too. We go all the way out there, and then there's no work. I'm like, that's fucked up. And those are like the mistakes that, like I said in previous episodes, that my I saw my old bosses making, and we made sure like, hey, if we ever start our own business, we're never gonna do that. We're always gonna have alternatives. And that was a very reoccurring theme too. Like, we would go there, nothing was ready, and then we wouldn't have work for 5 days, which I didn't mind at the time because I would just go to the gym and stuff. I was chilling. But I'm like, if I had to like support my family, if I had to like pay bills and all that, I'll be stressing out. If I was living paycheck to paycheck, that would not be a good organization to be at. So that's one thing that I learned from working for others. And a lot of painting companies are like that. Something, even us in the beginning were a little bit like that, but we always adapted. Like, for example, we always had things to keep guys busy, even if we had to make them paint our houses or clean the shop 20 times.
Because that's how you retain those
Yeah.
employees. I
Yeah.
mean, if we were treated right, I mean, I'm sure he would have kept us for a little bit longer before we had that mindset switch.
I always say this: if you would have treated us right, I don't think I would have ever started a business.
Yeah.
Because if he gave us job security, if he paid us the right way, if he gave us all the incentives that anybody that has a growth mindset has, like, for example, like us, like we said, uh, we give opportunities to the people within our organization to grow. We don't want you to just be a painter. We want you to grow within the organization. We want you to be a crew leader. We want you to manage your own project, and then we give you make more money. That's why I was like, if I was a part of an organization how we are right now, I would have never started a business, never. But yeah, the guy would like leave us home for a week, 2 weeks at a time because he had no projects, because he failed to do all the things I was telling you guys to do right now. He failed to keep the floating schedule. He failed to have a pipeline. He failed to have alternatives of, hey, if a project is not ready, if it rains, I need to relocate those guys. I need to send them somewhere else. And then that's why that guy has been in business for 25 years, and we outdid him within our first 2 years easily, guaranteed. I because we used to go to the same gym, and I know his operation. We grew double his size within 2 years in Michigan. So do those things. I've seen whatever we're telling you in this episode. Do them.
Yeah, I would say this is a very common mistake among a lot of painting organizations. Or sometimes when you book too many projects, and we did that too. We have an example when we didn't have the manpower and we wanted to
Yeah.
do 4 projects at a time. You had one, me and Dad another, and then a helper, another lead painter. It was hard to coordinate.
You know what this makes me like? You know when you're really hungry and you go to a restaurant and then you order everything on the menu, like your eyes are like bigger than your stomach. That's kind of like how this translates into like business world. Like, you get overwhelmed, you book so many jobs, and you get excited because you see all these jobs, you see all this money. You're like, yeah, I can do it. I can get to it. I can get to it. And the next thing you know, like, holy shit, I cannot meet the deadlines on these jobs. Or like, you're spread too thin. You're like a project that should take you 4 days. It takes 10 days. I'm like, and we did that in the beginning. We would get too excited. We would sell. We were selling like crazy. I'm like, oh, this is nice. All this money. You know, your brain starts thinking what you're going to do with all the money. And the next thing you know, you can't even get paid because you can't finish the project. So that's the complete opposite. That's why you have to pace yourself. You're like, okay, what's my capacity? I know I like projects, but I have to think of the long run too. I have to think of not how I'm going to stay busy in May, but how am I going to stay busy in June, July? Pace your projects. And then also another thing that we did in the beginning, we told the customers, yeah, I can get it done. I can get it done. And then when you set that expectation, obviously the customer is going to expect that, right? Be open and be honest with your customers. Like, hey, I can do it, but I won't be able to get to it until 3 weeks from now or 4 weeks from now. And if that's a deal breaker, then I'm sorry. be open and transparent with your customers on your capacity. Because if you tell them I can get to it next week, and then you schedule it for next week, and the next thing you know, like, hey, guess what? I have to push you, and then I have to push you, and then I have to push you. People hate that. I hate that shit. I remember when I was getting the Hellcat done, and the guy, the f- he, I scheduled, I paid the money, and I'm like, when can I drop the car in? And he was like, yeah, drop it in on next Monday. And then he texted me like 2 days ago, like, guess what? I'm too busy. I'm like, okay, when can I get it in? And then he pushed me for 3 months. I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah.
I'm done with this guy. I'm like, I went there, I got my parts. I'm like, fuck you, man. You run this business horrible. I'm done. I'm gonna find somebody else.
And then the next guy, he told you a month, but he was punctual
Yeah.
with his timing.
Yeah. Yep. I went to the next guy. I was like, hey, this is my biggest concern. I'll pay. I just want, if you're gonna tell me it's gonna be done in a month, get it done in a month. And then that was a prime example of even us. Just I don't like being pushed. And it's the same with our customers. Don't be like that guy. Job security and diversifying your services. We talked about this. Which episode was it? 0 to 500?
Yes, I asked you when do you think is a good time to diversify your services. At that point, you said it's not really a good idea.
Yeah, if you're so number one thing when you diversify your services and you don't have experience, it's like taking a risk. It's like taking a gamble. Are you are you able to take a risk? Are you at a good point to take a risk? For example, we spoke on the 0 to 500K episode. At that point, you're growing. You don't have enough money in the bank. You don't have a lot of opportunities to risk money. So if you don't have the the chance, it's like the casino. You go gamble.
Yes, I like this example. Keep
Okay.
going.
It's like you go in the casino with money that you're willing to lose, right? It's the same thing when you diversify your services. Let's say you're a painting company and you want to add LVP floors, and then you quote a job for $10,000. My mindset would be like, okay, I can quote this job and start adding new services, but I might fuck up this job. Am I willing to take a $10,000 risk? Because how I would think and how I was thinking when I did it, if we can deliver the promised results, can I afford to bring somebody to fix it? That's how I think every time I'm able to, I'm thinking about diversifying and adding more services in our business. For example, when we tried to do epoxy floors, and then I was like, okay, how hard can it be? That's my motto. Like anything in life, how hard can it be? So, but I was like, oh, we'll try it ourselves. We'll see if our crews can do it, and then if we can deliver results, and if we can, do a good job. But in the back of my head, I was like, okay, do I have enough money if I fuck this job up to go there, fix it, or pay somebody that's an expert, like an epoxy floor, that's all they do, and to come fix the job so I can do right by the customer. And yeah, I was like, okay, if I fuck this job up, I'll just bring somebody that does epoxy full time and they'll fix it. And then, that's a risk that I was willing to take in order to add another channel of income in our business. And it was same with backsplashes or tile or anything else that we do. It was like, hey, can I afford, if I fuck this job up, to bring somebody and fix it so I can do right by the customer? So I think that's when you're ready to add more services and you can diversify, when you're willing to, hey, if something goes wrong, I have enough money in the bank to do right by the customer by bringing somebody else to fix it. Because again, at the end of the day, the most important part is keeping your customer happy and not ruining your reputation and doing a good job.
And then one thing I like here that you put on the notes: diversify, but do your market research to identify which additional service you can offer that is in demand.
That's key. So going back to the epoxy sample, we got it down easy. We can get the epoxy floors done. We're thinking about like, okay, let's invest like $80,000, get a trailer, get all the machines, get everything that we need to start an epoxy division. And then I kept doing market research. I kept doing estimates. I kept looking at numbers. I'm like, okay, we add an epoxy division. We have to retrain, let's say, 2 crews. We have to buy all this equipment. Are the numbers making sense based on the market research that I was doing? I'm like, if I do 10 cabinet jobs, which we already are experts, and then we are experts in advertising, does it make sense for me to diversify and add a new service that's probably gonna make me less money? So we're like, okay, we tried it. We did a few weeks, we do a few epoxy jobs. We're like, this, we cannot be competitive in the market with the numbers that the market has. So I was like, it doesn't make sense for us. I'm like, it doesn't make sense to diversify and add a whole new division in our business. And we burned that idea. That's why it goes back to keep trying things, do your market research. But then it was the opposite for backsplashes. I'm like, okay, let's test it. Let's do a few jobs. Let's see what the numbers are. Does it make sense for us to occupy ourselves and put effort into that new channel of income? Does it make sense for what we have already what we're already doing right now? For example, if you're making a killing with exteriors or cabinets, does it make sense for you to put marketing dollars and efforts and training and then gaining experience into starting a, I don't know, doing tile? Because you're pretty much starting a new business. That's what happens when you diversify your services. You're pretty much starting a whole new business. So that's why it's important to know your numbers. That's why KPIs. Go listen to the KPIs episode. Keep track. Do your job cost analysis. See what are your best profit jobs. See where you're making most of your money. Does it make sense to to diversify and start a new service, or does it make sense to double down and increase the output on whatever you're doing right now? Because a lot of times the answers are in knowing your numbers. Like, okay, I'm getting a lot of exteriors. Those are my biggest profit margin jobs. Maybe I should invest more marketing dollars in running exterior ads, or maybe I should run more awareness campaigns for exteriors, or maybe I should be more aggressive and offer better incentives because those are my highest profit margin jobs. How can I get more of those jobs? That's why just look at your numbers, look at your data in your business. Sometimes you don't even need to diversify. Sometimes you just need to double down with whatever you're doing and then increase your output. Do more.
Yeah, if you have a goose that lays golden eggs, keep feeding it.
Yeah. Keep the same goose. You don't need to find another goose.
Silly goose.
Test, don't guess. That's a good one too. We talked about that before. That's funny. Don't show up to do a backsplash with a brand new cutter still in the box wrapped up. And we've done that. We were like, we started a new service and then we didn't have the tools. So we would buy the tools
And then show up.
and then show up and start. I'm like, holy shit.
That looks bad.
Yeah, that looks bad. So learn at least how to use the tools before you go to the customer's house, or practice on your own. Like us, my dad already knew how to do backsplashes, so that was zero risk for us. Like there's no way.
But we're talking as
Yeah.
if you're on your own
Yeah.
and you don't have, a person in your circle that does that.
Exactly. So yeah, try it out. Gain the experience. If you, let's say you want to start doing backsplash, or a lot of painting companies out there, they don't do cabinets. If you want to diversify yourselves and your services and add another service, for example, cabinet painting, do your cabinets, or go on Facebook Marketplace and buy a bunch of scrap cabinets, and then go to town, go in your garage and just start spraying and experimenting, and then figuring out what products to use and all that before you go into the customer's house. And then just or find online resources. Shit, you go on Karmelo's Instagram, he has, or you go on the ebook that he has, and you can pretty much learn everything about cabinets you need to know.
So there's a question here that I want you to answer. Does social media give you job security, and how does it do it?
So we're gonna touch base on that. So social media, no, it does not give you job security. And then I know we said before, majority of our leads comes from social media and Facebook advertising and Instagram advertising, but we don't rely only on that. Like for example, like a huge part of our business and the big ticket projects that we get, they're all from referral and key relationships. For example, designers. Social media is good for awareness. It's good for producing new leads. But if we're just strictly relying on social media and Facebook ads and Instagram ads, I don't think we'll be able to do the numbers that we're doing right now. Absolutely not. That's why social media is great. It's phenomenal. It's an acquisition channel. It's your funnel that your customer is going to land on it. and then they're gonna see value, value, value. These guys know what they're doing. These guys showcasing their work, showcasing their befores and afters, showcasing what primers they use, showcasing everything within their business. But that's not enough. Let's say if we stop everything else that we're doing and we're just strictly relying on social media, we would not be able to hit our numbers.
Yeah, no. Some months you can have, those three projects, one from a GC, one from another designer, one from another designer. You still have your fulling schedule,
Mhm.
just in case. But those big ticket jobs are what helps you, or what helps your organization hit those numbers.
Yeah, for example, like that GC that gave us like 5 projects. I'm like, there's no way.
I mean, he found us through social media,
He did find
but
us through
then the
social media. Yeah,
relationship, created on its own.
yeah. So the social media sparked that
Strategic
relationship.
partnership.
Yeah, and then we did one project. We did a good job, and then he gave us 4 more. So we weren't only relying on the new leads that we're gonna get that month from Instagram and social media. So don't like single channel risk. Don't rely on one channel. All right, you gonna go through some of the strategies that we're gonna give in today's episode. How to never how to ensure that you never run out of jobs.
All right. So this is how you ensure you'll never run out of jobs as a trade business owner. Number one, build a strong network. Network with other professionals in your industry, such as suppliers, contractors, real estate agents. They can refer clients to you and provide valuable connections.
Huge.
So I want to give an example. So let's say you have your inner circle, you have this other person here, and then you target their inner circle too. So your circle just keeps growing.
Mm-hmm. Outreach and building a strong network, especially again, it's not gonna pay immediate results. You can't just build a relationship today and then expect them to start giving you work tomorrow. It's gonna take some time.
Yeah, you said that in the past. Nurture those relationships. Don't
Correct.
expect them to. Okay, next day I got 3 jobs for you, man.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work like that. It'd be
Months later
awesome.
down the
It'd be
road.
awesome if we did, but it takes
Don't
time.
expect instant gratification. Offer exceptional customer service. Provide top-notch service and exceed customer expectations. Satisfied customers are more likely to recommend your services to others, leading to consistent flow of leads. Again, highest priority, do good work.
Let your
High
work
quality
speak.
work.
And also back to the downselling episode, when you offer exceptional customer service and your customer is super satisfied, you can go to them and be like, hey, do you think you know 5 people within your circle that would absolutely love what we just did for you? And then those customers, when they have an amazing experience, you did everything right, they love their job, they'll be more than happy to refer you to their circle because now you have the trust. That's all it matters because they don't want to refer somebody that they're scared of going in there and messing up the job. You have the trust.
And then you just threw an alley oop for the next one. Develop a referral program. Encourage your satisfied customers to refer your services to their friends and family by offering incentives or discounts for successful referrals. So you pretty much just went through that.
So our referral program, we have so many different referral programs. So if a homeowner refers us to a friend, family, whatever, coworker, we give the person that we're gonna doing the job a discount, and we also always take care of the homeowner customer, like the homeowner that referred us to the person that we're gonna be doing their job. It can be as small as a $25 um, Starbucks gift card, or it can be $200 gift card for dinner. It depends on the size of the project. But also, you're not only giving them the gift card; their friend is taking a discount as well, friends and family discount. And then I'm testing out something new right now. We're creating these little coupons that's they're gonna have different offers, like hey, $500 off or 10%, like something. We're still in development phases, and then we're gonna give it's like a little booklet, literally like you're ripping it off, and then we're gonna have a a section where the person that referred us, they're gonna put their name on it. So
It's like a little check.
it's like a little check, yeah. That's
Sign
so,
it.
so they're gonna be giving those people a check. It's gonna be pre-filled, and then the only thing that's gonna be left, it's like the person that is referring us to, putting their name there, so we know it came from there. And then because we're trying to increase our referral network, we wanna give more value to people, and we wanna just word of mouth because we do really good work. So we want the word of mouth to increase. So that's something that it's still in the test. Once we launch it and back test it.
And we
We're
make sure it works.
gonna give it to you guys.
Invest in online marketing. Create a professional website and optimize it for search engines. Utilize online advertising such as Google Ads or social media ads to reach a wider audience and generate leads. The professional website, I think, is so important. If you have a Wix website that is a little bit outdated, I don't know. It's
Or if
not
you
up
did
to
the website
date.
yourself, that's
Yeah.
another thing that I notice a lot. A lot of these business owners out there, they make their website themselves. Invest in getting a good website. And if you guys don't have somebody good, hit me up. I have a great person that can build your website. Um, and also make sure, like us, we're not huge. We're not investing huge in SEO. We're not investing huge in Google Ads, but we still spend $300 a month on the people that do our website to do SEO. And we get a lot of our commercial leads come from our website and from Google because we have the 5-star reviews help as well. I know, like for example, Anthony Sons of Monaco Painting, he kills it with Google reviews. He has like 200, I think, and he cranks out leads like crazy from Google. So invest time on those. SEO, I cannot really say that. I'm not sure. I mean, they show me the reports every month. They look good, and I'm only spending $300 a month on it because my other marketing channels are working. But I still have that on the back burner. I can call Melissa, my website lady, and then my SEO lady, and he'll be like, "Hey, Melissa, guess what? My Instagram stopped cranking out leads. What can we do?" And she already has it set up. She's already been doing the search engine optimization. She's like, "Okay, let's start putting more money in it and start cranking out some leads from Google." So we always have things on the back burner, even if it's like a little budget. Like we're only spending $300 a month on the SEO, but it's there if we in case we need it.
Join professional associations, become a member of trade organizations, and attend industry events. This will not only enhance your credibility, but also provide opportunities for networking and finding new clients.
Okay, so
What do you
this
think?
is in our notes, but I'm not a big fan of going and mingling and passing out
Business cards.
business cards. But it is a great way to go in those events and network and find other professionals. We didn't put enough effort in it to be like, oh, it doesn't work. Um, but I've seen people who do it and they get great results. So, for example, in the beginning, I used to go to the Blue Network Association Construction in Michigan, and then I got some really good connections there. But it wasn't like people who were giving me work. I got connections of tile guys. I got connections of carpenters. I got connections of people who I can use when I'm ready to diversify my services. Not necessarily, you're not gonna necessarily get leads, but you're gonna expand your network of other professionals. So when you get those leads, you can either refer them out or you can sell the job and then hire them as your subcontractor. So they're great for that. Have I gotten a lot of leads from it? No. Have I gotten professionals that help me make money on leads I generated and then I added more services? Absolutely. They're great ways to add more tools in your toolbox and add more professionals that they think the same way as you and deliver good quality work. Because think, especially if you're like me, I always think as a marketer. When I go into this event, I'm always thinking, how can I use this guy to get more leads and then keep him busy? That's how my brain works. For example, the last event I went, I met a refacing guy, like a cabinet maker. So my brain was not thinking like, oh, this guy's gonna refer me to paint cabinets. I was thinking, oh, this guy, if I get refacing leads, I can use him. I can add another service because he seems nice. He seems good. He does good work. He has good ethics and morals, clean cut guy. So I'm like, my brain's thinking, how can I keep this guy busy? Once you switch your mindset a little bit and think, how can I give this guy value versus how can I get something from people? It's gonna be a big change because now you're thinking of how can I provide value to those people versus like, oh, I'm going there to pass my business card out and then get leads. That's not the way to do those networking events.
Yeah, it needs to be mutually driven.
Mutually driven and always go with the mindset like, what can I do for you? All these people that you're meeting there, what can I do for you? How can I help you? How can I help your business grow?
Last one on here, stay up to date with industry trends. Continuously educate yourself about the latest advancements and techniques in your trade by offering specialized services or staying ahead of the competition. You can attract more clients.
That's huge, especially with the coatings. Like the cabinet coatings industry always changes. The manufacturers, 1 year they'll have a good batch. They'll release a new product like a killer primer that's gonna dry super fast, or they'll release like for example like a 2K polyurethane, or like even when I remember when Emerald Rain Refresh got released, and then we're testing it. Phenomenal product.
Or even tools. Some
Yeah.
tools, they can minimize waste, anything.
When we started using the hoppers, that was a big
I think it cut down our material cost to about 20-25%.
yeah,
And
because
with those materials, it helps a lot.
yeah, especially when you're buying $150 2K polyurethane per gallon. Let's say you're using a gallon less for each job. That's in the long run, especially if you're doing volume, it can translate to a lot of savings. That's why we like testing out new sprayers. We like testing out new cabinet coatings. We're always looking for ways to become more efficient without compromising quality. And we're always looking, because speed kills, we're always looking for ways to make our process faster without compromising quality by testing new products, testing new sprayers, testing new tools.
And then we move on to the common mistake trade business owners make when scheduling and sharing jobs. One of those is overbooking or underestimating time. It's important to accurately estimate the time required for each job to avoid delays or disappointments.
So yeah, going back to, if you can get to it, don't say you can get to it. Don't set expectations that you can meet. Don't do that, because you're gonna ruin your reputation. And even if you have a really good product, people talk like, okay, this guy, he's a good painter, but he's very hard to get to. Like, he keeps pushing me and all that. It's not a good look. You can have the best product, but again, if your customer service, which this will fall down to customer service, is not good, then you're losing.
Yeah, and if they're talking to, someone in their circle and they say that, what they're going to keep in mind is, oh, he didn't meet the deadline and all that. That's all they keep. They don't, you did great work and all that, but he was late, all
Yeah.
that.
And it
That's what
happened to
stays in
us.
their
It
head.
happened to us before. We delivered a great job, but we said it's gonna take 5 days. It took 9 days, and then the customer got stuck up on, hey, I was out of my house for 9 days instead of 5 days, even though the job is perfect. I don't think he would hire us again.
Lack of communication. Poor communication with clients can lead to misunderstandings and dissatisfaction. Maintain clear and regular communication to ensure both parties are on the same page.
So what I like about this note is, for example, we start a cabinet job today, okay? And I'll go back to the car example. Like, when I get work done in my cars, I like, not because I'm a mechanic and I understand the ins and outs of it, but I just like being in on like filled in. I like knowing what's going on. Like, hey, we're in this phase. We're this. We just got done this. This part just got delivered. And it's the same with when a customer gets his house painted. That's why we always make sure each phase we update the customer. Hey, Mrs. Homeowner, we just picked up the doors and drawers. The guys are prepping the structure. We should be able to get the primer coat up to date. The doors are getting done at the shop. Boom. It takes what, 10 seconds, 20 seconds to send that text out, but the customer feels appreciated, and then feels like he's being filled in. You're just not keeping your customer in the dark. And that's how you increase the LTV. It's not like we said, it's not only selling the job and getting the job done. It's what do you do to keep the customer happy throughout the whole process, because you want that customer to come back to you. You want him to refer you. That's why those things are very important. And we tell our project managers too, like, hey, don't just sell the job or just don't start the job and then ghost the customer. Make sure you keep them updated. Make sure you let them know, hey, we're in this phase. Or let's say there might be a pushback, or like something that delays the process. Hey, Mrs. Homeowner, we run into this issue. We have to, I'll use a cabinet job. So we used to use this primer that on brand new construction cabinets, they have like that, what do you call it? The conditioner. Remember
That they put on the panels
that they
usually.
put on the panels? It's like, I forgot the name of it, but it's like a conditioner that vinyl primer won't stick on it, and then the whole thing flakes. So we don't know that that condition is there because there's no way to really test it until you use the primer, and then it starts cracking and spider webbing. So what you have to do in that situation, you have to scrape the whole primer and use an oil primer. So that's a common situation. Like, hey, Mrs. Homeowner, we had this issue. We didn't know. It's gonna take an extra day because we had to scrape the primer. And we have to make sure we use the right coating so we can stand behind our work and our personal guarantee. Always stay in constant communication. Customers love that. And they always like the process was so good. They were so communicative. I remember that one review that we got. Carmelo was great throughout the whole process. He gave us the rundown. He gave us everything that we needed. He was keeping us on the loop. It was great. Phenomenal experience. You're selling an experience. You're not just selling a paying job. You're not just selling the job and then you get the job done and get paid. Sell them the experience and then it'll pay dividends, guaranteed. Like, for example, they left him an amazing review, which even if that customer never buys from us again or never refers us, that review is gonna influence a customer that's gonna see like, okay, these guys are good communicators. They keep me on the loop. That's what I like.
Inconsistent marketing efforts. Many trades business owners neglect consistent marketing, which can result in a lack of leads. Regularly promote your services through various channels to maintain a steady flow of clients.
Yeah, don't stop your advertising. Big mistake. We'll keep beating a dead horse with it. Don't stop your marketing. Even if you're so busy, it's better to get leads into your CRM and just burn them. Like, hey, I can't get to it in 2-3 months. Still make a point of contact so you can create somewhat of a relationship. Like, hey, I'm sorry, we got your lead, but unfortunately right now, the soonest we could get to you, it's 3 months out. Is that something that you're willing to wait for? If they say, yes, I'm willing to wait for it, then you can go in the estimating phase. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm by my house and I need to get it done next week. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I really wish we could help you out. Also, that's another way to have a referral partnership with other painting companies. We do that all the time. If we can get to it soon, we're like, hey, I have another great painting company that can get to it. Or I have another great tile company that can get to it. Would you like me to refer you? And then you give them the referral and you make a little kickback on something and you help the customer and then the lead. That's a great way to, like we said, expand your network. Don't look at your other painting companies as your competitors. If you can feed each other, there's plenty of work for everybody out there. Okay, guys, so that was pretty much it for job security and how to make sure you keep your pipeline and filled with work, lead, and then just
Some common mistakes to avoid.
yeah, some common mistakes to avoid. I think if you follow the blueprint that we just gave you in this episode, you'll be fine. But the biggest takeaway that from this episode, if it was one thing that you can just keep from this one episode, do not stop spending marketing dollars. Never stop your marketing. Even if it's like a very minimum budget, stay relevant. Like Coca-Cola, the biggest, everybody knows Coca-Cola. They still run ads. They still stay relevant. They still be out there. So it's the same for us. I know we're much smaller scale, but stay relevant. Never stop your marketing. That will wrap up this episode of the Dirty Painters podcast.
Be sure to follow our business on Instagram at Olympian Painting and also our personal pages, Olympian_Redion, Olympian_Carmelo for more content, and also the Dirty Painters podcast.
If you like this episode, be sure to share with a fellow painter tradie. Until next time, this is Redion.
And I'm Carmelo.
Signing off on the Dirty Painters podcast. Thank you, guys.
Take care.